Welcome to 3-Minute History with Mr. Marr. Quick summaries about a range of different history topics. Today we're going back to the time of Nazi Germany, and we're going to be looking at the different economic policies which were introduced under Hitler's government. Creating jobs was an absolute priority for the Nazis, for the simple reason it was what helped them gain power. When Hitler was appointed Chancellor in 1933, 6 million Germans were unemployed. And this was one of the reasons that there was anger throughout the country, which had seen a surge in support for the Nazis. As such, Hitler knew it was essential that he create jobs in order to stop this anger and build support for his government. The Nazis went about different ways of creating jobs. One of these was a public works program. This involved the large-scale building of government buildings and schools throughout the country. It also saw an increase in the building of autobahns, which were roads, and there was a national forest planting program as well. All of this created jobs in two ways. Not only did it create thousands of jobs for the people that were carrying out the work, but in turn this created extra jobs for other people, as those workers were now able to spend money elsewhere. All of this began to improve the unemployment rate in Germany, although it's worth noting at times this was sometimes linked to the fact that Jews and married women were no longer to be counted as unemployed. Germany also sought to improve its economy alongside rearming and strengthening its military. The introduction of conscription meant that more young men were forced to join the army, and Hitler also took steps such as reintroducing an air force and strengthening Germany's army in terms of the tanks and other weapons it had. All of this again created jobs for the people either to work in the military or to make the weapons that would be used. This would later be a key part of the Nazis' 4-year plan, when from 1936 the Nazis had the goal of making sure their economy was ready within 4 years to be part of a potential world war. The Nazis also took steps to improve the working experience, partly to ensure that people that already had jobs were also happy with the Nazis. Under the Nazis, wages increased, although it's worth noting so did the number of working hours people had to do as well. The Nazis brought in a scheme known as Beauty of Work, and this was about improving working conditions, such as ensuring better ventilation and better lighting in factories. In addition, the Strength Through Joy program was meant to ensure that workers were happier by giving them either cheap or even free access to holidays, theatre trips, and so on. Most famously, the Nazis introduced the Volkswagen, the People's Car scheme, and this meant that people could ultimately try and get a cheap car, although it's worth noting that because of wartime preparations this never actually happened. Another Nazi economic policy was that of autarky. Hitler believed that Germany had lost World War I because it relied too much on imports from other countries. So the Nazis hoped to ensure that Germany no longer relied on anything from other countries, such as food or other resources like steel or coal. The Nazis did succeed in this in the sense that they did produce more food and get more natural resources. However, they never did enough to be fully independent. And not only that, it can be argued that the extra money they had to spend in order to grow the food in their own country was money that was in fact wasted when they could have had it cheaper from elsewhere.